But here it's not used in that meaning. Here it's used in a different meaning. It's used in the meaning of a lot of talk but no action. A lot of talk, no action. But nothing much was done. Huff and puff. Okay? And then we'll huff and puff, talk about it a lot, then do nothing. That's what the title's about. Okay? Susie, you start please. College. Or maybe not enough money, maybe didn't pass the score, but couldn't do it, no chance to do it. So if you're deprived of something, you don't have the chance to do it. Okay? So we know we need to strengthen communities that don't have much, like Kaikoui, and we've known it for a long time. Anyone that's ever been up north, you can see. You can see, okay? Any questions on the subtitle? Remember, if I go too fast, give a yell. Okay, Susie, start off, please.
To work more cooperatively. What she said made perfect sense, and the only thing that puzzled me was why had it been done already like decades ago. Every government I can remember has promised to make this happen. She blamed the public service. When they all have their own patch, she said they are responsible for it and no one else can come in and burn it up. They like it like that. But if you integrate their work so no one is responsible for anything, so they risk copying the blame for something other people do. Silo thinking. Silo thinking is deeply entrenched.
Okay. Remember that easy. Remember that easy. Okay? Don't say it. Okay.
Silo thinking
no, that's enough. 3 years ago, I interviewed a senior cabinet minister, someone high up in the government, who wanted the welfare ministries, all those ministries that look after people, okay, to work more cooperatively. Cooperatively means what? Together. To work together, cooperatively, okay? What she said made perfect sense, sounded great, was wonderful. And the only thing that confuse. Okay? He was puzzled over what to do, confused about what to do. What do I do? This, do I do that? Okay? And that's where we get the word puzzle from, crossword puzzle. You've got to figure out the words, okay? And the only thing that puzzled me, confused me, was why hadn't it been done already? Everyone's talked about it, why haven't they done anything about it? Like decades ago, we all know is
10 years.
10-year period, so like many years ago, like decades ago means many years ago, every government I can remember has promised to make this happen. They all come into power, we're gonna help Northland, nothing happens. Okay? Any questions up to there?
No.
Okay? She blamed the public service. Who's the public service?
From government.
Well, generally people that work for the government or for the city. Okay? If you work for the city, you're part of the public service. If you work for the government works for the public. So you're a public servant. Okay? Same thing. They have the PSA. Public Service Administration, their job is to look after government workers and all those people working in the government. Okay? Public Service Administration. What's good about a government job? Anyone tell me what's good about a government job?
Is it stable?
It's very difficult to get fired. Very difficult to get fired. Even if you mess up badly, they just move you. They very rarely fire somebody. Okay? That's why people like government jobs. They're boring, but they're safe. Okay? She blamed the public service when they all have their own patch. Patch here means what? We've all got it.
one packet.
Patch means you own particular area of responsibility or ground, okay? Physical ground. Okay, we've got several meanings we can use. He has a patch of land in Northland, an area, maybe 2 or 3 hectares of land. Okay, a piece of land. Gangs kill other gang members who come onto the wrong patch. Gangs have territories. The guys from Gang A come into Gang B's area, there's usually a fight. So here, patch means territory. And the last one, we've all done this, you put a patch over a hole. You've got a hole in your trousers, put a patch over it. Okay? So, repaired a hole by covering it up. Okay? You see a lot of, especially the girls walking around with patches on their jeans and stuff. But here, you're talking about when they have all their own patch, they have their own area of responsibility, what she's talking about, public servants. And if you're a public servant and you have an area of responsibility, you don't like to go outside. You don't want to, you stay in your own area. You very rarely go outside. She said, they're responsible for it and no one else can come in and bugger it up. Bugger it up, mess it up, screw it up. Okay? To bugger up something is to mess it up. He buggered up his exam. Did badly. Screwed it up. Messed it up. Okay? He's a silly bugger means he's an idiot. It's quite a common expression. Don't talk to that silly bugger. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Okay? But to bugger up something is to mess it up. Okay? So, and no one else can come in and bugger it up and mess it up. They like it like that. In other words, this is my area, I'm responsible for it, you don't come in and try and change things. But if you integrate the work, integrate means work together, okay? Immigrants want to integrate into their new society. They want to be part of whatever country they've moved into. Adopt the customs, adopt the culture, or work with the customs, work with the culture. Integrate. Okay, work together. But if you integrate their work, combine their work, join their work, okay, suddenly no one is responsible for anything. That's a great New Zealand tradition. No one's responsible for anything. That's a great New Zealand tradition, okay? Something messes up, not my fault, it's his fault. Okay? Kiwis do that all the time. Okay? Very few people here want to take responsibility for screwing up something, buttering up something. Okay? Unfortunately. So they risk copping the blame. To cop the blame, to receive the blame. Anyone here got a ticket for speeding? So he copped the ticket for speeding, he got a ticket. It gives the idea of getting something that you really didn't want to get. You really didn't want to get. If you cop something, it's not what you really wanted. Maybe it's a mistake on your part or something else happened, okay? So to cop the ticket here, they risk copping the blame, taking the blame. No one wants to take the blame for stuff, so we won't do anything. That way they can't blame us for anything. That's the way they're thinking. For something other people do, okay? Something other people do. Well, he did that, not me. Don't blame me, okay? And that's going back to a lot of people not taking responsibility. Silo thinking is deeply, deeply entrenched. What's silo thinking? First of all, what's a silo? I don't think we've got too many here. Silo, very common in America, sure. Building, something like that, and it's where farmers store their wheat or their crop, whatever it is, wheat or barley or whatever the crop they do, and they fill it up to the top, okay? It's called a silo. Farmhouse is next door, okay? So silo thinking means that someone at the top is doing all the thinking, not the people down the bottom. Silo thinking, because silos are tall, they're quite tall, taller than this building, okay? And silo thinking is thinking at the top, not at the bottom where the event is taking place. Okay? So silo thinking is deeply, deeply entrenched. Entrenched means apart, apart. Most societies, people like their families. They work together with their families. Okay? So if something's entrenched, it's a major part and it's hard to break apart. Hard to break apart, okay? It's the idea, a trench is like that, okay? So if you're in here, you're deeply entrenched. It's hard to move. So if something's deeply entrenched, it's hard to change. So what they're saying is, thinking at the top is hard to change because they don't want to change in a lot of cases. But it's difficult to change. It's difficult to get a senior person to change his mind. Many reasons. One, they don't want to look like they're silly and all that sort of stuff. But it's hard, as you probably all found out. Okay? Any questions up to there? Am I going too fast? Okay. Next, please, Minya.
How police were arresting meth dealers in Northland, but cooperating with social workers to provide help to meth users. Throughout the country, police work with teachers who work with district nurses. But in the ministries, according to the cabinet minister, the barricades were up. Late last year, another cabinet minister outlined to me exactly the same problem. Different government notes with different expectations of the public service, the same old problem.
Okay, so in head offices, the main offices, more than on the ground. It's usual work. The workers work harder than the people up top. Okay, generally. Perhaps I reported last week how police were arresting meth dealers. We all know who meth dealers are. Okay. Meth, everyone know what meth is? Drug. They burn it and smoke it and they go all crazy. Okay? So meth is methamphetamine. Commonly known as meth or ice. Okay? That's the drug of choice these days. Okay? Methamphetamine is the full name, but we generally just call it meth or ice. Okay? It comes in crystals, put it in a pipe, heat up the crystals, gives off the smoke, you inhale it, smoke it like a pipe, and your mind goes all crazy. Okay, that's the big problem up north. And actually, it's the main problem in New Zealand. Not opium or cocaine, but meth. Okay. Arresting meth dealers in Northland, but cooperating or working with social workers. Who are social workers? They help people who have problems, okay? Financially, emotionally, whatever case may be. People involved go to see the social worker, and that social worker tries to sort out the problem one way or the other, okay? To provide help to meth users. Give them anti-meth drugs and all that sort of stuff, dry them out, stuff like that, okay? Throughout the country, police work with teachers who work with district nurses. Who are district nurses? My sister's one. Who are district nurses? They travel. They're traveling nurses. They don't work in the hospital. They go out to the people. If you're in your home and you can't get to a hospital, the district nurse will come and visit you and take care of you. You know, do what she has to do. Okay. So you can see we've got police working with social workers, working with district nurses, working with teachers. People are trying to sort out the problem. Sort out the problem. But notice all these people, they're at the low level. They're not the bosses. They're the low level people. Policemen, teachers, they're the people that have contact with society on a daily basis. The guys up in the main offices don't. Okay? They sit up in the office, write fancy orders and stuff, and that's about it. Okay? But in the ministries, according to that cabinet minister, the one that she interviewed before, the barricades were up. What's that mean? The barricades were up. What's
Obstacles.
sorry?
Obstacles?
Yeah, barricade. Well, it's an obstacle. You should put across the road to stop something. But what does it mean here?
They started to work.
How to
It's when-
solve the problem.
They don't want to solve the problem, so they give some excuse. Okay, you got a problem? Well, I'm busy. I'll talk about it later on. So they're trying to protect themselves from the basic problem. The barricades are up. Okay, it's a very common expression. Trams across the road, blocks across the road. The idea is stopping people from coming down. But here we're using it in a figurative sense. The guy locks the door, don't bother me. Don't bother me. Okay? Sort it out yourself. They're defending, the ministers, the senior ministers are defending their policies. Okay? Late last year, another cabinet minister outlined here means described, okay,